And you know what I learned in life, Zach? That I learned from guys like you who have learned this lesson very early, and you're my mentor in this, which is this point about saying, do we want to be right or do we want to get the result that we desire? Do we want to be right? Or do we want to get the result that we want in life? And those things are completely different. We get to be right. Like, especially in the engineering context, because I know it just as well as you do. You know, you could totally not master communication if you don't want to. You could you make a lot more money? Could you grow?
I know the people who agree with you on that.
Right? You can. But don't go telling me or you that you want to be in management and that you don't want to fix your communication skills. That doesn't make any sense. Because what is the ethos of management? The ethos of management is simply to manage others. It's not about doing technical delivery work anymore. Yeah, there's still some of it. You still need to know your stuff because you need to be able to, especially in engineering management roles today, as you know, you coach your clients on this, is you have to be able to both take 1,000-foot view on a technical problem and be able to go down the weeds. You have to be able to make that switch constantly, even if you're not doing a lot of the back end work anymore. And if you are not taking the time to master the most critical skill, which is comms, and we're making excuses about, I don't need this, I don't need this. That's also true. You also don't need the promotion. So don't worry about that either, right? So, and that's something I've been guilty of most of my life, frankly.
I agree with you when you say that communications is the building block skill. It's without it, none of those more advanced things come to life. And so I'm going to propose something that I believe, and I want to hear if you agree. And how does communication fit in? So most engineers love and thrive on solving problems. When I ask an engineering manager at Google who reaches out to us for coaching, what is it that you really want? What's the dream? What's the goal? If it was a year from now and everything went exactly the way you want it to go in your career, what would you be doing? More than half the time, the answer starts with, I just want to be in a job where I can solve really hard problems that I love solving. It's just part of the ethos, the DNA of an engineer. We just love to solve problems. Okay. Well, I believe that every real problem in your career that holds you back from the things you actually want is a people problem. Every problem is a people problem. So if you can't communicate, you cannot solve people problems. What do you think about that?
I agree. I would just look at the frame a little differently, but I agree with the premise, which is, let's bring it down to the bare bones, right? Let's say, because I know software engineer the most out of probably all the engineering types. So let's say we're coding something in a database. We're trying to create a new app. We're trying to create a new service, trying to run it into production and then go live with it. Well, the problem that is missing and why everything is a people problem is because we're not just making an app for the sake of making an app. Every technical decision that is made in a business is always attached to a business outcome.
Exactly.
It's about saying, no, we need SAP, we need this system to help us make more money. So now because of that, the layer on top of that becomes, now we need technical people to then solve that technical problem. But the layer is always business, and the layer on top of business is always people, because who are we doing business for? Like if you're in mechanical, not in a mechanical, if you're an aeronautics engineer, you're making planes. Well, who's in the plane at the end of the day? It's people. If you're in software engineering, who's using the app? The end consumer. It always starts and ends with the person, to your point.
You might have a problem on your project. You say, what's the problem? Well, the deadline is 3 weeks and we've got 10 weeks of work to do. And you call that a project problem, but it's like, well, where'd the deadline come from? Somebody picked the deadline. You're going to need to go talk to somebody about what we're going to do. If there was no deadline and no person making it, solving the technical challenge is actually what engineers love to do. So where do we begin, especially coming from the technical lens, Brendan? And you understand the thinking of that deep logical, that deep analytical mind. What's the first thing that needs to shift to unlock communications mastery?